So Insomniac just released the lineup for Beyond Wonderland at the Gorge, and wow, it blew me out of the water when I saw it. It completely, compared to the SoCal one, it is just, there's no comparison. It is so much better in my opinion. We're going to get straight into the lineup review, my recommendations, and we're going to go one by one. Each artist I went through, did all the research. We're going to go genre by genre, artist by artist, and give my recommendations to who my favorites are. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright, so jumping straight into the venue, the Gorge Amphitheater is one of my favorite venues by far. It is up there with just an amazing view. The campgrounds itself are really nice and really well kept, and the vibe was amazing. I went there for Bass Canyon with Oscar and Ashley from my rave fam this past year, and we met some amazing people. We got adopted by 2 rave groups on both sides of us, and they were such chill people. It seems like the vibes in SeaTac are just super dope. So love the venue, love the people, love the vibes, and can't complain anything other than that. If you're a camper, if you love camping festivals, this is definitely somewhere you should go. When you first walk up to that main stage, it is just such a beautiful view. You look into this huge river valley with this big old cliff overlook on the right side. It's just amazing. And when I first saw it, I was speechless. So definitely recommend going to this venue. If it's not even for Wonderland, go for Bass Canyon. And I know they also have other festivals. I think they have rock festivals, country festivals, if that's your thing. It's not mine, but hey, I'm not going to knock anybody. Without further ado, let's get straight into the lineup and the artists themselves. Alright, so moving on to the artists. Obviously, this lineup just dropped yesterday, so can't really give a day 1 and day 2 yet, but we're going to go A to Z. I honestly went one by one on artists, on even the ones I didn't know, and listened to the music, figured out what kind of genre they fall under. We're going to get straight into it. If there's something I don't know about these artists, or if I miscategorize them or mispronounce their names, please correct me. I'm not trying to cause any disrespect to, miscategorizing someone's genre or something like that. So, moving on, A to Z, we have Afrojack to start it all off. And if you don't know Afrojack, he's an OG househead in the game, has been doing it forever, also has some big, hip-hop songs with Pitbull, and is a super good time. I don't remember, I think it was Afrojack back-to-back. Oh, I can't remember. It was 2 EDCs ago, but I went to see them back-to-back, and it was an amazing time. Moving on, we have Alex Bosey, who, from what it seems like, is a local DJ there in Washington in the SeaTac area and a turntablist, and was a really good DJ. I checked out some of his mixes, and it's a good time. So if you haven't checked him out, haven't heard of him, definitely go give him a listen. He's a good time. Moving on, we have Andy C., who is some drum and bass. Not really my genre, so I'm not going to speak too much on it. If he is a good drum and bass act, let me know. I'll definitely go check him out, because I honestly have so many drum and bass songs that I don't know, and I just hear them and I'm like, ooh, that's a banger. I don't know who that is, but I heard it. I've heard it before and it's nice, and I definitely need to add some more songs to my drum and bass playlist. Moving on though, we have Arm & Hammer, and I love Arm & Hammer a lot. Their sets are super unique. They're always throwing down different stuff, but it's funny, I never really listen to their music outside of festivals. They're kind of in that melodic dubstep kind of vibe, and I just never catch myself listening to that too much outside of going to festivals. And they never really even just play melodic dubstep at their sets the whole time. They throw it down, they get a little more dirty with it and get some heavy bass in there, throw in some bass house. They do a little bit of everything, honestly. So moving on, we have Audion, and Audion is kind of the same thing. It does some progressive house vibes, but it's a little different. I always listen to progressive house while I'm cooking, at work, just vibing. I honestly think it's just a perfect little relaxer, but I never see myself really going to progressive house sets at festivals. I know Audion's an amazing producer and DJ though, so I definitely recommend checking him out. Moving on, we have the Bass Rush Experience, which isn't really an artist per se. It's multiple artists on a stage, kind of taking over one stage for the day. So kind of look for just a lot of bass, a lot of heavy dubstep, kind of bass house, just experimental dubstep. Maybe you're gonna get a little bit of everything in there. Bass Rush is gonna be a good time, heavy bass, and yeah, that's all I have to say about it. I don't really know what to say other than that, because I don't know what we're gonna see. But moving on, we have Blossom, and Blossom is honestly a bass house, little bit of drum and bass. I honestly don't get too much into her music, even though I love bass house so much. I just haven't really gotten into her yet. But I know she's a good time, and I've seen she did a back-to-back with, I think, Kapazi, and it was a good time. I honestly had a good time out there. I don't remember where it was, when it was, but it was fun. Moving on, we have Born Dirty, who is the same thing. LP Jovi back-to-back, Born Dirty at EDC. That was an amazing set. I was just starstruck the whole time. So definitely recommend checking out Born Dirty. Definitely one of my favorite tech house acts on this lineup. And then moving on, we have, I think, the most like excited set I'm looking forward to. I don't know why I just worded it like that, but it's Sid back-to-back Joshua. That's going to be crazy. They're going to throw down some crazy future house, and I'm going to be shaking some ass. So I'm excited for that. It's going to be a good time. Moving on, we have Dylan Francis. And, I mean, if you're in the EDM world at all, even if you're not, you know who Dylan Francis is. This guy's everywhere, all over the internet. He's an internet sensation, internet troll, whatever you want to call him. But he honestly is in, like, every genre of music, too. He does trap, he does reggaeton, hip-hop and rap, electro house. Like, he does it all. So definitely would recommend checking him out if you haven't seen his sets before. He's always kind of funny and has just some fun vibes going. Moving on, we have Eli Brown, who's some techno, mainly techno, but also throws a little bit of tech house in there. And I really regret missing out on him. I think it was at Electric Forest. Someone was telling me, like, check out Eli Brown, and I never did. Definitely regret doing that because it was a super good time. I ended up listening to his music at work earlier today, and man, super good vibes. Moving on, we have Flo Stradamus, who kind of is the same like trap rap kind of vibe, and that's not really my thing. You won't really catch me going to too many trap sets, but their music, I love their old music. They used to be a duo, now it's just one person. I love their old music, and you know, can't go wrong if you loved that music before, and if you still love trap, 100% Flo Stradamus is still a great artist. Moving on, we have Gene Ferris, who I actually didn't know who he was until I looked him up today, but it seems like another OG househead in the game, been in it for years. He had songs like dating back to like 2009, 2008. So he's been doing it forever and has some amazing sets and has some amazing music. So I'm actually going to check him out. I was super interested when I looked him up, and ever since I've gotten into DJing and mixing myself, I have a newfound respect for DJs that just got some skills on the decks. So gonna check him out. Moving on, we have Guilty. I think that's how it's pronounced, GLTY, I would assume. Does some drum and bass. I'm not sure really how good it is or isn't. Not really my genre. I didn't really listen to too much of it. I just heard it was drum and bass and went, all right, drum and bass, cool. Because I can hear it. I don't want to speak on it and be like, man, this is trash, because I don't know. So if he is fire, let me know. Moving on, we have Heritage, who is going to be one of my dubstep acts that I'm most excited for on this lineup. Excuse me. But he really, not too many people know about him, which I hate, because he has so many songs with like Excision and BTSM and ATLiens, and are like super notable songs like Cheat Code and I think Hypnosis is the one he's on with Excision, and he has 40 Cal, who's with I don't remember who, but amazing dubstep act, and I feel like he's a little underrated, under talked about, even though he's been in the game forever. So super excited for that, and it's going to be a good time. Moving on, Hannah Wants, didn't know who she was, but I looked her up, some progressive house, good old house time. Nothing else to say other than that, but not really something that was my vibe. Like I said, it's not really something I go out and check going out of my way, but if that's your thing, go check it out. Moving on, we have Hades, who I don't know why when I was looking at the name I was like, is that a drum and bass act? But then I know Hades and I've listened to his music so often, and he's mid-tempo bass, kind of like a Resi 1788L kind of vibe. Definitely an amazing act, and I'm definitely going to check him out. I don't know why I blanked before and was like, is that drum and bass? But moving on, we have Hyperfunk. Speaking of drum and bass, I don't really know to categorize him as drum and bass or what, but he just had this interesting, or they, I'm not sure, had this interesting song to them where it was just some drum and bassy, electronic, techno. I don't know how to categorize it. If you guys listen to them often and that's your kind of thing, let me know what genre that would actually be. I'm really interested to find out. Moving on, we have Insomniac Records, which will be kind of the same thing as the Bass Rush experience. It's going to be a stage takeover from all the artists from Insomniac Records. So you should expect a lot of house, a lot of future house, all that stuff. It's going to be a great time. Insomniac Records has a lot of artists on their roster that are fantastic. So moving on, speaking of some great house, we have James Hype. Again, like I said, since I've started mixing and DJing, he is one of the people that I've been watching, and I'm just like, wow, I got a newfound respect for that guy. He throws the fuck down. So definitely going to go check him out. I haven't seen one of his sets live since I've started mixing, and I'm really excited just to really listen to see what he's doing on the decks, because he throws down and makes sure to use all 4 decks at once. He's going dumb. So moving on, we have Jessica Otterfried, and I don't feel like there's much need for this introduction. We're a bass channel. We're a dubstep channel. Jessica Otterfried's one of the biggest up-and-coming DJs there is right now, and I'm super excited. Viva Mexico way. You already know the vibes. Nothing else to say other than that. Moving on, we have Joyride, and Joyride is one of my favorite bass house artists by far. My entire bass house playlist is literally like 40% Joyride, so no complaints there. I love to see him on any lineup ever. My favorite back-to-back set that he does, my boy Party B put me on, is Joyride back-to-back Ghastly. That Ghost Rider set is ridiculous, and I hope to see it live one day. That shit is crazy. Moving on, we have Justin Hawks, who is a little more D&B. Not going to speak on it. D&B act, if it's good vibes, awesome. Not really going to be there, so won't know. But after that, we have Kaiwachi doing a sunset set. And I'm not entirely sure what that means, because he did a sunset set at Bass Canyon, but they didn't say it was a sunset set. It's so annoying saying over and over again. But he was still throwing down some heavy bass, heavy dubstep like he usually does. So I don't know if they're going to, like, this means that he's throwing down, like, you know, some softer shit, and it's going to be a little more of his vocal music with some switch ups. I don't know. We'll see. I'll definitely be there regardless. Moving on, we have Kalina Zanders, another person who I didn't actually know who they were until I looked her up, and she was actually a super good time. A little bit of house music. Listened to her set at Nocturnal, and it was super dope. I listened to a good 30 minutes of it and had a good time the entire time. So if I have time, I'm definitely going to check her out. It seemed like it was some good vibes. Moving on, we have Ken Dahl, and I think it's Ken Dahl, does some bass house, and I've listened to them. I haven't really listened, like, gone out of my way to listen to them, but I have heard a few of their songs in their night playlist, like Volume 5, I think. I'm not sure. And they have a few collabs with, like, AC Slater and stuff. So I definitely have heard the name before, and I know I like bass house. Can't go wrong with it. So I'm probably going to end up shaking my ass there eventually. Going to have a good time. No complaints. Moving on, we have KX5, which you guys, everyone should know. Cascade back-to-back Deadmau5. They were on freaking, like, I think it was like Good Morning LA or something. I was taking my grandma to urgent care, and I looked up, and I was like, that's fucking Cascade and Deadmau5 on Good Morning, like, America, or whatever the fuck it was. It was crazy. And my dog just flopped her ears too. I just completely lost my train of thought. Anyway, KX5 is not really my type of music, that electro house, progressive house, techno. It's great music, and they are amazing, amazing, amazing producers, but I probably won't go and see that set. If you haven't seen it before, I would recommend seeing it at least once, though. Moving on, we have Lucy. I'm pretty sure that's how you announce it. I see so many people on Twitter, like, always messing around about... Bro, look at what my dog is doing right now. I'm sorry, but, like, what are you doing in there? That is not a spot for a little dog. That is a spot for a little dog, not a big dog. That's what I meant to say. You're too big for that. God. That's why I'm getting so distracted. She's sitting there, like, crawling through desks and stuff. Alright, anyway, we were talking about Lucy and people mispronouncing her name all the time. I don't know how to pronounce it. I hope I'm not mispronouncing it right now. If I am, if you're watching this, Lucy, Lucky, Lakai, Lucy, I don't know. I apologize. But it's some experimental bass, kind of mid-tempo bass kind of vibe, and is an amazing time. I always like seeing DJs do DJ sets too, so really excited to see that set. Moving on, we have Mala, and Mala is up there as probably one of my top 5 sets I'm most excited to see here at Beyond, because Mala is just a little bit of everything. The future house, tech house, bass house, it's just such a good vibe. Even it has a collab with Rez with some mid-tempo bass. It's just chef's kiss. I can't wait to see Mala again. Just saw him at Decadence, and oh my God, this dog's gonna make me have to stop this video right now. Hi, hello. Saw him at Decadence and was just such a good time. So moving on, we have Marshmello, and everyone knows Marshmello. He's in Fortnite now. If you don't know Marshmello, you're living under a rock. But I probably won't go and see him. That trappy future bass isn't really my vibe. So it's a good time. His visuals are amazing. I've seen so many clips of some absolute ridiculousness, and he has some great songs with Sudden Death and Subtronic, so I can't knock him for his music and his production skills at all. He's fantastic, but just not something I really go to see live. It was funny. We were at Escape this past October, and I was with my rave fam. We were staying to see Subtronics, and there was this group of people, like, happily leaving, and we're like, my friend goes, yo, like, you guys going to see Marshmello? And the guy's like, yeah, man, like, you coming? And we were just like, nah, like have a good time, bro. Like just enjoy yourself. And it's like, man, we already know in like 2 or 3 years they're gonna be going to see Subtronics instead of Marshmello. That's for sure. But no disrespect towards Marshmello at all. Honestly, he's such a good act and really good producer. Moving on, we have Martin Ikin or Ikin. I don't know how to pronounce his name. If I'm pronouncing it wrong, I apologize. But does a little bit of everything in the house genre of house, tech house, bass house. It's just a good time. God, my dog is just tearing my hand apart right now. Bass house, tech house. It's a good time. So moving on, we have Mal P. If you don't know Mal P, he has that super popular song that's Drugs from Amsterdam right now, and also actually used to go under a different alias as Maurice West, and used to do a little bit of like big room house and bass house. So he's an amazing freaking artist and producer. I would definitely recommend checking him out, and his new sets are honestly, personally, I think even better than his old ones. No disrespect, I'm just not that big of a big room house kind of guy. Now he throws down a little bit of some future house, bass house. It's a good time. Moving on, we have Mersive, and Mersive's another one of those ones where it's like, I love their music, but experimental dubstep or wubsy music, whatever you want to call it, isn't something I usually go out of my way to see at festivals, but it is a great time, and Mersive's up there as one of the best ones in that genre. So definitely recommend checking them out if you haven't before. Moving on, we have Mian, I think it is. I don't know how to pronounce the name, and I don't know who they were. I looked it up. They do a little bit of some deep house, melodic house is what I got off of it. I'm not entirely sure, though. That's just what, you know, I kind of got off of it from listening to a few songs. But moving on, we have Mortals, who, again, I actually didn't know who they were, but listen to them. Some mid-tempo bass, some res vibes, and I loved it. Some good times. I might even stop by in and see who it is, because I don't know if it's a big name that I just haven't heard before, or if it's someone new and upcoming that I should definitely check out before they get huge. Moving on, we have Nightmare, and I feel like everyone knows Nightmare. Can't go wrong. He has so much diversity in his sets. He can literally play everything from trap, hip-hop and rap to future and bass, some electro house. He does it all, and honestly, it's such a good time. So definitely recommend checking out Nightmare at least once. Same thing as a bunch of these artists that you have to see at least once. Moving on, we have Nitty. If you don't know Nitty, it's Nitty Gritty. An amazing bass act, and kind of trap as well. Bass and trap, same vibe. Definitely recommend checking him out. Him and Party Favor are back-to-back as side piece. Back-to-back as side piece. Unfortunately, they're not playing here from what it seems, but amazing. They're one of my favorite house acts by far. And he also just did a back-to-back with Say My Name, Say My Nitty at Escape, and that shit was ridiculous. So I know whenever I see Nitty Gritty on a lineup, whether it's solo or back-to-back, it's going to be a good time. Moving on, we have Ove, and that's the thing about this. When I was reading this lineup on my phone, Nitty and Ove were put together. So when I was looking for it, I was looking up Nitty Ove the whole freaking time. Like, who the fuck is Nitty Ove, bro? And I couldn't figure it out because there is no Nitty Ove. There was just a typo on the mobile version. So I honestly don't know who Ove is, or of Ove. I don't know. So if you actually know who they are, please let me know. And I'm really interested to figure out their music, because I just didn't have the time to look up their music, because I just looked at this when I was starting the video and I was like, it is Nitty Gritty and the other one's just Ove. I had a feeling it was. Moving on though, Pauline, her, I don't know. Experimental bass, future bass, super good time. Honestly, one of the best up and coming in that category right now. Has that same like Millennium, you know, Said the Sky, all that vibe. So if you love that music, definitely check her out for sure. Moving on, we have Ravenspoon, who does some experimental dubstep, some wubs. That's all I'm gonna say about it. I got nothing else to say. Keep me out of it. Moving on, we got Ray Volpe, who is one of the biggest up-and-coming dubstep DJs in the game right now. If you don't know fucking Ray Volpe, you do. You just don't know his name, because you've heard Laser Beam. You've heard the bomb laser. So you heard him if you haven't heard him, which is what's crazy. This guy had the biggest blow-up this past year and is amazing. So can't wait to see him again. I've already seen him like 5 times this past year, and look forward to seeing him again. Moving on, however you want to say it, we have Rem K, who's in that same trap kind of vibe. Not really my thing that much, but I know Rem K does have some good songs, and I've actually listened to a few of them before, even looking at them today, and I actually have some that I like. So if you like trap, definitely check out Rem K. I'm sure you have already. Moving on, we have Riot 10, another great dubstep act that I'm excited for, and I love Riot 10 because he throws in a lot of good mixes. There's one mix that I always loved from him that he threw in, which was like the Boom 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 song from Venga Boys. I would have to sing it for you to get it, the fucking super high pitch, like boom 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 boom, I want you in my room. He does a nice little mix into that and do a drop, and I like that shit. So that's all I have to say. I sound stupid as shit right now. Moving on, we have Said the Sky, and like I said, I was mentioning Said the Sky around Pauline, her hair, whatever the fuck. And same future bass, experimental bass, amazing acts. Just not really my thing at music festivals. I'm not really there to, get in my feels, but I know my girl loves that kind of music, so I'll probably end up being there eventually. We'll see. Moving on, we got Sam Divine, and this, I honestly didn't know who it was, but listen to it. Some house, future house. Future house is one of my favorite house subgenres at the moment, aside from bass house. And yeah, honestly was super excited to hear his setup coming. Had some good music. It's gonna be a good time. Moving on, we have Say My Name, he is my favorite trap artist because it's not really my thing, and he throws the shit fuck down. Literally, trap, hardstyle, like bassy, dubstep, whatever the fuck, he just throws down. He's an amazing artist, and you never know what you're gonna get with him. It's gonna be some crazy mix-ups and some switches, so can't wait to see that. And I have some weird feeling that some Say My Nitty is gonna come out at Beyond. I don't know why, but I feel like Say My Nitty is going to be a little thing. Anyway, we have Shipwreck. I'm calling that now, though. If it happens, I'm going to timestamp this shit and bring it back, because I called it. What day is it, motherfucker? 124 at 8/16, 2023. I called it. They're going to come on and do it back-to-back. Anyway, I'm bullshitting right now. I'm doing this all in one take, and I'm losing my mind right here without messing up. Moving on, we have Shipwreck, who's one of my favorite house duo bass house acts, and they honestly don't do just house. It's a little bit of progressive house, bass house. It's a little bit of everything with them, and they got so many good songs. It's a good time. So, gonna be great. Moving on, we have Schlump, and I actually didn't know them up until looking them up, and they same thing as that Wubsy experimental bass category. Gonna be a super good time. I actually am excited to see them because I looked up 3 of their top songs, and I was bumping to all of them. So, gonna be a good time. Moving on, we have Slander. I personally would never really go see Slander at any festival because I just feel like they've been doing it for so long. They kind of have the same overplayed set over and over again. It's such amazing music. I love their music, good vibrations, all that shit. It's just such a good time, but it's just not really my thing, and most of the time they headline with someone else. So that's my problem, is that most of the time there's conflicts, and me and my girlfriend, her favorite artist is Slander, mine's Subtronics, and we always worry about the day that Slander and Subtronics play at the same time, because it's going to be one of those, hey, I'll catch you later, bro, have fun to Slander, I'll see you later. But no reality, I'll probably end up going to Slander. But anyway, Test Pilot is going to be the next artist we're talking about on this list, and it is some techno. Love some techno music, but honestly have never really gone out of my way often to go see techno sets at festivals. I just started getting into it, going out of my way to see him. I saw Cloud at Escape, and that was a hella fire techno set. So I think it was Charlotte DeWitt. Yeah, it was Charlotte DeWitt at Escape as well, another great techno set. And yeah, I had a great time there. So I've been starting to kind of dip my toe in some techno. Ooh, didn't even mean to rhyme right there. Okay, moving on. Damn, that was fire. Timmy Trumpet. If you don't know Timmy Trumpet, he's super famous. It's the same thing with Ray Volpe. You've heard his music before, but you probably don't know his name. And he does a bunch of big room, hard style, hard dance. Does a little bit of everything, and he plays the trumpet. His name's Timmy. Super good vibes. Moving on, we have Tony H. Didn't know who Tony H was until I looked him up, and that's the same vibe of some house, tech house. I feel like Beyond is always kind of that vibe. They kind of focus around some housey, up-tempo vibes. So, moving on, we have, I lost where I was at in the lineup. Valentino Khan. There we are. We're almost done. We're getting there, people. Bass house, future house for Valentino Khan, and honestly, an amazing house act. I missed Dioro back-to-back Valentino Con at Escape because someone was playing, I think BTSM, and you got to go to church. Me personally, you got to go to church. So we missed that back-to-back, and I definitely wish I could have seen that because it would have been such a good house time. Would have been shaking ass the entire time. But every time I see Valentino Con alone, he's amazing. So saw him last at Hard Summer with my boy Keelan, and we got into VIP, and it was just super fun. So moving on, we have Virtual Riot, and I feel like, to me, Virtual Riot, I say this all the time, and I already forgot who I compare these people to. Oh yeah, so Virtual Riot to me is like a good mix of like some Subtronics and some Barely Alive. It's just like some nasty dubstep, some nasty rhythm, but he has that like crazy like up-tempo bouncy vibes as Barely Alive, and then just some crazy shit thrown down where it's just some unique sound like Subtronics. So both of those, I just realized I just skipped Subtronics. What am I doing? We're going to finish talking about Virtual Riot, and then we're going to move on back up to that. So Virtual Riot, very similar to Subtronics and Barely Alive in my opinion. I feel like they're like all very similar together. So we're not going to be moving on. We're actually going to be backtracking. We were at Slander. We're moving on to Sub Focus now. Can't believe I completely skipped that whole part. So Sub Focus is a very, very popular D&B act. If you don't know, definitely would recommend checking them out. Same with Subdocta, a very, very big experimental dubstep wubsy act. Two of the biggest in the game in their respective genres, and I'm probably gonna go check out Subdocta. Not really a big drum and bass guy, like I said again. I'm gonna keep saying it until I start liking it, but definitely gonna end up checking out Subdocta. There's 3 subs right there, and I'm just getting fucking tripped out right now. Moving on, we have Sub Daddy, Subtronics. So excited to see him for probably like the 20th time, but literally going to see him at the Kia Forum this weekend. I'm so excited, and then I'm going to see him again here. Probably might be the next place I'm seeing him. I'm not sure. Maybe EDC. I'm sure he's probably going to be on that lineup too. But love Subtronics. You guys know, if you watch this channel, all of my videos are Subtronics related. If he's on the lineup, I'm there. So can't wait to see him as per usual. He's gonna throw down some nasty shit. I got nothing better to say. That's the GOAT right there. Moving on, now we're skipping all the way back down. We're kind of zigzagging. We just jumped through the lineup. I apologize for that, but we are now at Walker and Royce, who are back to some house music, some future house, and is a great duo, house duo, and would recommend checking them out if you haven't before. After that, we have Wax Motif, who personally I think is my current favorite future house, G house, bass house, whatever you want to call it. That man throws the fuck down and makes all the Latinas shake the ass. You can't complain about that. So Wax Motif up there, House of Wax Gang, can't complain. That's the second time I just rhymed in this video. I'm going crazy. Moving on, we have Whipped Cream, and honestly, I've heard Whipped Cream, like I've heard of her so many times, never listened to her music, never really gotten into it, but honestly was very interested by her. She had a bunch of genres in kind of like the future bass, future trap, I guess you could call, and some drum and bass. I was honestly surprised. It seems like a little bit of everything. I might check out that set just to see what they play live, or what she plays live. Finally, lastly, I feel like I've been struggling through this whole freaking thing. I don't know why. I feel like I'm running on like 2 hours of sleep, even though I'm not. We have Zomboy, a GOAT, one of the greatest dubstep artists back, OG head, back there with freaking Rusko and Excision, just one of the OGs, and just throws down some dubstep, some trap, good times. If you're an OG dubstep person, you love Zomboy, honestly. So can't wait for that, and that is going to do it for the lineup. Man, I feel like that was a lot. I feel like that was a struggle for me. I hope you guys stayed the entire way through it. I really hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out, y'all.